Hello, I'm Wayne Lambright. It's October 3rd, 2016. The purpose of this video is to go over my answers to the presidential election that happened last Monday. I've only read a few of them just a few minutes ago, so I'm going to read them and give you my answers impromptu. I'm also going to talk about world politics, World War III, and maybe a few other topics. This is impromptu, unscripted, unrehearsed. Should be about 15 minutes long. As many of you know, let's get started. As many of you know, I've been bidding for President of the United States for 14 months now. And while my campaign is beyond small, I'm still bidding because Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton could drop out by dying. I don't think either of them are just going to say, screw it, I'm out of here. But there's a pretty good chance that something terrible could happen to them, either naturally or planned. I think America is at a zenith of corruption, crime, and propaganda, the likes humankind have never seen before. We should be the most connected civilization ever because of internet and all these massive communication devices, smartphones and internet. But we're not connected. We're divided. And that's what this election is about, which is continued division so they can continue to manipulate us. And when I say they, I'm talking about the people who own the banks, the people who attacked America on 9/11, Israel. So we'll talk about them in a little bit more. Let's talk about these presidential debate questions. First question here from Holt, beginning with you, Secretary Clinton. Why are you a better choice than your opponent to create the kinds of jobs that will put money in the pocket of Americans? So why is Wayne a better candidate than Trump or Clinton? Because I'm not a rich elitist. I know what it's like to work in America. I know that it's basically a scam, and that by changing the way America works through our monetary system, I'm going to abolish the Federal Reserve, which will give more money to Americans. This ties into the other questions about taxes. But we don't have an economy that stimulates small businesses. It's more towards Wall Street these days, which is the elitist. So the corporations are so powerful they can squish out the small entrepreneur or the small business owner, which is the middle class. And this is why we don't really have a middle class anymore. If you look at a pie chart from the 50s, more than half of the wealth in America was owned by the middle class, and today they own 1%. All the wealth has been transferred to the powerful elites, which own the corporations, which own the government, which makes the laws to empower the corporations, not empowering the people. So I would change laws on corporations and make them responsible for their actions. I would abolish the Federal Reserve, which would get rid of our 3% inflation per year. That would give us more money into the economy. I would not only just lower taxes, I would remove federal taxes from the middle class for under $1 million, and I would probably tax the rich about 25 to 30% if you made past $1 million. Okay, so the wealthy elites are stealing from the middle class and the poor. If you want to call this Marxism, maybe it is. But the working class create this wealth. Wealthy people were born into this money. They never worked for it. And there's no reason why they should have such obscene wealth. America is controlled by oligarchs, which is a fancy name for saying rich people. By me putting control of the currency, the printing of money, into the hands of the United States government, then the government would be able to give out loans to small businesses. Right now, bankers, not the government, give out loans, and the bankers don't want to give out loans to businesses that would affect their business. Businesses that would affect the corporations. The corporations own the banks. So they don't want to empower the middle class or the poor to get a leg up in society. So we the people, it's not we the corporations, it's we the people who will bring power back to America. Let me follow up, Trump. You've talked a lot about creating jobs, bringing back millions of jobs. How are we going to bring back the industry? This is by abolishing the Federal Reserve and by our government's creating loans for small businesses. I would do that. Secretary Clinton, you called for a tax increase. I already talked about that. Trump, you were talking about the burden America had to pay tax talking about Trump not releasing his tax returns and the reason. Skip Trump's taxes. Race in America. The share of Americans who say race relations are bad in the country is the highest it's been in decades. Much of it amplified by the shooting of African Americans by the police, as we've seen recently in Charlotte and Toulouse. Race has been a big issue in this campaign, and one of you is going to have to bridge a very wide, bitter gap. So, how do you heal the divide? Well, I would prosecute the police for doing extrajudicial killings. The police are murdering black people because they know they can get away with it. As soon as police start going to jail for their crimes, they'll stop it. Somebody told the police it's okay to kill black people. And police should not have the excuse, I was afraid. If you're that afraid, you shouldn't be a police officer. I'm actually for taking away the guns from the cops. The cops they can't handle the firepower. Give them tasers and pepper spray and bulletproof jackets and visors. Yeah, police departments should have SWATs teams for extreme situations, but the police, if people know the police are not armed and going to kill them at every traffic stop, then people won't be fighting back. But since the police are murdering people, the police are starting the war, not the civilians. The police are starting the war. The police are shooting unarmed civilians left and right. In Germany, they kill 8 people per year. In America, the German police kill 8 per year. In America, we kill 1,400. So it's not about training or intelligence. It's about motive and policy. So there's been some policy that allows police to kill people. There was a question to Trump about the birth certificate of Obama. Obama might have been born outside America, and it is fishy that you could not just go to the state of Hawaii and find the birth certificate on record. You can get mine. Laguna Niguel, I think, is the depository for birth certificates in California, where mine's at. Securing America. Our next segment is called Securing America. We want to start the 21st century. We want to start with a 21st century war happening every day in this country. Our institutions are under cyber attack and our secrets are being stolen. So my question is, who is behind it and how do we fight it? I'm not sure. Well, okay. Our institutions are under cyber. Since I'm a computer scientist and I'm a programmer and I've been doing this stuff for 20 years, it's corporate industrial espionage. So it's corporations within America stealing other corporations' secrets, and it's foreign corporations trying to steal our secrets. You would have China and Russia trying to steal the secrets of our military defense contractors and vice versa. There's lots of evidence that America just freely gives them our technology to propagate and continue the military-industrial complex. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next few years you hear that America gave the Russians stealth technology, or whatever the most advanced technology is. It was leaked to the Russians, so now the Russians have it, therefore we have to build more countermeasures. This has been ongoing for the last 60 years since the end of World War II. It's a scam. As far as in cyber attacks, well, a lot of this stuff is Microsoft, which has given a backdoor key to the NSA and to themselves. And I'm sure some private hackers might actually have that key. And Microsoft has as many holes as Swiss cheese. Mr. Trump, cyber. You mentioned ISIS, and we think ISIS certainly is over there, but there are American citizens who have been inspired to commit acts of terror on American soil. New Jersey, in New York, knife attack, Mall, Minnesota. Ashibo, tell us specifically, how would you prevent homegrown attacks by American citizens? Well, first of all, ISIS is an American proxy army. We invented ISIS to destabilize Syria so Israel can steal the land. And if there's anybody in America doing ISIS-style attacks, well, they're just lone wolves who are upset with the oppression of the Muslim people around the world. They've been framed for 9/11 when it's Israel that attacked America on 9/11. Israel attacked America on 9/11, and they framed Muslim people. Muslim people have a right to be pissed off. We've murdered 1 million Muslims for no reason. What is your judgment on Iraq war? Why is your judgment any different from Clinton? Well, the Iraq war was another scam chasing a false boogeyman to destabilize the Middle East and to steal their oil. If there was no oil there, we wouldn't have anything to do with it. Mutual acceptance. Mr. Trump, this Secretary Clinton became the first woman nomination for president by a major party earlier this month. She said she doesn't have quota, a presidential look. She's standing here right now. What did you mean by that? Hillary Clinton is shameful. She gives women a bad name. One of you will not win this election. So my final question to both of you tonight, are you willing to accept the outcome of this will of the voters? There are no voters in the election. It's the Electoral College that decides the final victor. I would abolish the Electoral College so each individual person, their vote would count. And I will not accept Hillary Clinton as president. And I wouldn't accept Trump either. I think they're both puppets for Zionist. There has not been a fair election. I'm not invited to these debates. Neither is Gary Johnson or Jill Stein. So there's a lot of trickery going on behind the scenes. Will not accept this outcome of the election. I expect civil war after this election. Once the American people learn that Israel attacked America, it's over. In our government, we have an illegitimate government right now because of George Bush stealing the election and attacking America. George Bush is part of this 9/11 style attack. So our government has been hijacked by Israel. We can't have a functioning nation. We can't have a recovery. We cannot have prosperity if we have a cancer growing within our own nation. Israel is the cancer. Israel controls our political process, our banking, and our media. We are slaves to Israel. And the sooner you realize this, the sooner America can be taken back by the framework called the Constitution. The Constitution has been suspended. It's on hold. All right. That's enough of the electoral call, or the questions at the debate. Pretty weak questions. And I could have done a better job of reading them, but I wanted to give you my impromptu answer of reading them pretty much for the first time right there. Today I read that Russia is having a drill for a national nuclear attack. 40 million citizens will take part in it. 50,000 emergency vehicles and 200,000 specialists are preparing for a nuclear attack in Russia. Exercise drill. So they're preparing for the event of a nuclear attack. America is threatening Russia with NATO, and we have the war brewing in Syria. America has no right messing with Syria, but they're doing it because Israel is making America do it so Israel can steal the land of Syria. Russia knows that Israel is up to no good. Israel is ISIS. And so is America. We have funded this mercenary army to destabilize Syria so Israel can take over the land. This is why they flooded Europe with all these refugees, to give these people a place. Israel could have taken the refugees. Not any refugees are going to Israel. They're destabilizing Europe and America with more cultural enrichment. The Syrians don't want to be moved, and we don't want their people either. So I think this is a way to create a global war, a global terrorist situation. Not saying that the Syrians are terrorists, but they're going to use that as an excuse. And when I say they, I mean Israel is going to, under the umbrella of ISIS, create more terror attacks under the umbrella of ISIS in Europe and in America, which will probably usher in martial law, which would probably also usher in World War III. America's doing everything it can to kick Russia in the balls in Syria. I'm still expecting some type of mini fight between Iran and Saudi to basically screw up oil production, to push the price of oil very high. 17 minutes. Sorry. Pakistan and India are ready to trade blows and maybe even some nuclear weapons. China is on Russia's side with the China Sea and Japan. And we have a presidential election that's rigged. There's not going to be a happy outcome to this. I would expect actually Trump to probably be assassinated by the Clintons. The Clintons make Satan look innocent. The Clintons don't do anything that's legitimate. I don't think a presidential candidate, number one qualification should be lying, cheating, and stealing, but that's exactly what seems to be going on. We've lost touch with reality because people don't know the truth that Israel attacked America. So they're believing all this. It's layer upon layer upon layer of lies. And it's all a scam. It's just a big scam. And I know I look ridiculous saying what I'm saying if you're part of that lie. If you think that the Arabs attacked America and the two airplanes went into the World Trade Centers and the Saudi terrorists, that's all bullshit. Okay? If nothing on 9/11 was true, well, anyways, Israel attacked America on 9/11. There probably weren't even airplanes that hit the buildings. There's no black boxes. There's 4 black boxes missing. There's no airplane parts from World Trade Centers 1 and 2. What about Building 7? There's no black box from Pennsylvania. There's no black box from the Pentagon, which was a cruise missile. We have been lied to. The FBI have covered it up. America was attacked by a foreign nation, and you don't give a shit. I started off on this platform saying everything I just told you now, I've been saying for 14 months now. Eventually, my truth will come out, and you'll see that I was right, and I was the right guy for this moment in time. But it looks like I'll be suppressed, and my voice will never really be heard. But I want you to know, in the near future, the shit will hit the fan. The truth will come out that Israel did attack America, And it's going to be a huge, there might be a coup because there's so much cancer, Zionist cancer in America, it's not going to want to leave.